Behind me, you can see the bulk of my Lego collection, which stands at somewhere between 350,000 and 400,000 pieces. Now, many of you watching will say, that's a massive collection. Well, some of you might say, well, that's nice, but I've got more. But here's the thing. I, for a long time, had a problem with my collection. It was never big enough, and I could never feel confident in my collection that I could build really cool things that I wanted to build. Now, I'm guessing as somebody who is watching this video that likes Lego, that probably has a Lego collection of thousands of Lego pieces at least, and you've seen plenty of Lego YouTube videos, you might have a similar problem. You might look at your collection and say, I just don't think I can build anything cool. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I am coming to grips with being content with my collection and some steps that I am taking to start building some really cool MOCs with the pieces that I already have. Now, this is a little bit of a different kind of video for me, but I want to make sure that I provide you a disclaimer before I get too far into this. I want to tell you what this video is not. This video is not a rant about the Lego group and how expensive Lego is. It's not a rant about online Lego community in the social media realm, and it's not about YouTubers and how much Lego they buy versus how much that I buy. It's none of that. I had always collected Lego when I was a kid. From the age of 3 all the way to about the age of 12 or 13, I collected Lego sets. I loved to build all the time with the pieces that I had. Some really, what I thought at the time, were cool creations and felt satisfied with how often I was able to build. But of course, I was a kid. Then I went to college, and then I went to graduate school, and at some point when I was in grad school, I remember getting back into Lego, really kickstarting my collecting days, and struggling at that time with taking the pieces that I was getting and building with them, and really embracing what I think makes Lego so appealing from a young age all the way to, well, senior citizens, and that is the creativity of putting pieces together, the satisfaction of building problems and solving complex issues with basic bricks and plates and all of that to make something look amazing. So when we started this YouTube channel in 2021, one of our goals was to show you how our family does just that, building interesting things and trying to take the pieces that we have. But a problem set in. Not we, but I got distracted. Instead of focusing on how can we build something cool with what we already have, I began to think about, okay, how can we get more sets? Which sets do we want to buy? And it became about new sets, and there's nothing wrong with buying those, but it distracted me from what we were planning on doing. And so in the end, we ended up buying a bunch of new sets and neglecting getting pieces for building things together as a family in some cases, or trying to build our massive castle project or our modular city. Part of the problem, and you might relate to this very well, is budgetary. Now, what compounded the problem for me was that I could see all of these Lego channels on YouTube that were buying sets and displaying them and having massive displays and still building creations. And I was not happy with my collection. I wasn't satisfied with what I had. In fact, that's the very definition of discontent. And so the problem became, in a nutshell, that I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. And you see, that's what it comes down to. One of the key terms that I was presented with a couple of days ago that I hadn't heard in a long time, but really resonated with me, is the term contentment. Being happy and satisfied with what you have. Being able to embrace the massive collection that I already have and using it would be a sign of contentment. Wanting what everyone else has, that's a sign of discontent. And so I needed to change, and I still need to change how I think about my own Lego collection. As I said, many of you watching this video wished you had 350,000 to 400,000 pieces. Well, I have those. Why don't I use them? If there's one Lego set that epitomizes this for me, it is the Loop Coaster. Now, I really like this set. I have the original roller coaster, and to be honest, I like this set, but it was one that I looked at and said, okay, how does this really fit in with my collection? I can't display it forever. I have limited display space, like many of you. I don't know if I want to use all of these pieces for the Loop Coaster in my MOCs. I can use some of them, but it doesn't really go all that well with, say, castle MOCs. There are some things you can do with it, but a lot of pieces probably aren't going to end up in creations. And so it didn't matter. It was a new set coming out. It was big. It was impressive. It fit with a set that I already had. So I'm like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to buy it. The bottom line is, despite it being a fantastic set, it really didn't fit into who we were. And well, honestly, it reminds me of a great quote from Dr. Ian Malcolm in the original Jurassic Park movie. He at one point says, we were so preoccupied with whether or not we could that we never stopped to think about whether or not we should. And that illustrates some of the problems that I've had, that I've been wrestling with as a Lego fan and somebody who has a YouTube channel over the last handful of months. Now, some of you probably don't care all that much about the random and rambling musings of an adult fan of Lego that has a small YouTube channel. But if you're still watching this, maybe this resonates with you. Maybe your collection is something that you don't use all that often. Maybe you get caught up in the hype of a release day and you buy a set or a couple of sets, regardless of the price, that really don't fit into what you were really going for. I want to pose a challenge to you. Build a MOC. Whether it's big, small, medium-sized, but build a MOC of something with the pieces that you already have. Don't go out and buy another Lego set or buy pieces off of Bricklink, the Pab wall, or go to an independent retailer and get pieces there. Take what you have and build. The reality is, with 350,000, 400,000 bricks, I can do a lot of things if I just actually sit down, do it, and be grateful for what I have. So the second step I'm trying to take in becoming content with my collection is to use more digital Lego building software. In particular, I'm referring to Studio, which is something I used in a recent creation where we supersized the Botanical Gardens set, but it could be another platform that you want to use. But in Studio, I'm able to use a lot of pieces that I already have, maybe some new pieces that I don't have, but I can incorporate strategically into MOCs to be more efficient with my collection. One of the rewarding elements to it is, well, you have a creation, you can put instructions out there and you can build it anytime. In fact, you can build it, you can take it apart, and then you can rebuild it because you have those instructions. And so I'm working on developing my Studio skills, creating MOCs in the program so that I can have those instructions, even put them up on Rebrickable if you're interested in those, but really working on doing more with what I already have available to me. In fact, we're already working on a project right now to take this set, a classic castle, 1986, the Guarded Inn. This is one of those great, highly rated castle sets from the golden era of castle. And what I'm doing is, well, remaking it in a way that's more modern, to take pieces from the last decade or so, because some of these building techniques are outdated. It's going to look similar to this in some ways, but it's also going to be much more complex and nuanced in terms of the building techniques. But the key is, I'm doing it with the pieces that I have. I have a ton of pieces for castle stuff. Let's use them. In fact, I remember ordering years ago these 1x1 plates in a color known as very light gray. You may not even know that that color exists. In fact, it's not light gray, it's not the old light gray, it's not even white, it's in between. And it only came in a handful of sets. 4 mosaics in 2003 came with like hundreds of them. And there was another set in 2004 that came with just a couple. I bought a bunch of these plates and I've never used them. They've been sitting in my collection for over a decade. Why? So I'm really curious to see what this is going to look like when we're done with it. I can already tell you we started and we're having a lot of fun. The bottom line is I want to be more content. In fact, I want to be actually content with the collection that I have. And it's a process. I'm not saying that I'm there right now. Now, does that mean that we're never buying new Lego, whether it's new Lego sets or additional pieces for creations? No. But we're going to be more strategic in how we do it. And when we do buy Lego, it's going to be for a better purpose than to be the first person to have a set or to be there on day one to get a set, just for the sake of being there, caught up in the hype of a release date. So comment down below, let me know, do you primarily use your collection as a display, or do you mainly build MOCs? Do you do a combination of the two? Before you go though, check out this video, it'll really help out our channel. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together.